Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, for why that black men are the most systematically targeted and destroyed, again, I think it goes back to jealousy. I think it's honestly, I think it all goes back to some kind of jealousy. People, God's chosen people is a divisive term, and the belief is that the people of the Old Testament are God's chosen people. Well, the oldest person in the Old Testament is Methuselah, who's black or of darker, complexion. I know a lot of black people don't like being called black, and I get it, but you know what I mean when I say black. I mean African American. That's kind of a silly term. We're not calling white people European Americans. We're not calling Asian people Chinese Americans. It's just like we speak to be understood. But I really do think it goes all back to jealousy. And again, I mean, everybody knows who's honest. Even there's it's amazing to me how many racist white people I knew growing up that love black entertainers, whether they're musicians or Denzel Washington, but ultimately they're still racist. It's like they appreciate the nature of a black person's entertainment value, but at the end of the day, they still think of them as lower or worse, or they have some derogatory thought about them for some reason. And again, I guess in a way, it's because people are growing up in front of screens. The news is systematically demonizing black people, while in the entertainment world, they're kind of being praised and celebrated, from athletes to musicians. But it's like this weird dynamic that exists in so many people. Anyway, again, people get mad at me for saying this, but listen, when you look at black people, usually the best voices, the voices that you want to listen to in a song. I mean, there's great people of all races that can sing, but so often the very best voices, the very best music, it's been made by black people. How many people's favorite actor in the last 20 years is Denzel Washington, a black man? How many people sit there and idolize athletes all day that are black? And for every good white athlete out there, I mean, there are some white people that are freaks of nature, but I mean, most white people know that are good athletes. When you got showed up by a black guy or a black team. They're just bigger, stronger, faster, more often than not. It's not to say that every black person's bigger, stronger, faster than every white person. We know that's not true, but just on the average, on the norm. And again, with regards to Nick Cannon, remember what was viral at the same time he announced the death of his child. And if you guys have not seen my work on Nick Cannon's latest announcement and what's really going on with Joe Burrow and Billy Cannon, if you don't know about all that, you need to know about that. These are major rituals. But, just leaving that part aside, when the news was viral about the death of his child, the other thing that was viral was the shot of Nick Cannon on his new show where through his slacks, the way it was, you could see how big his dick was. And, I mean, it's no secret. Everybody knows, for the most part, black guys got huge dicks. And it's not true about every last black guy. You feel bad for black guys that don't. But it's just the reality of this world. And, I first learned about this as probably a 7 or an 8-year-old. My sister always dated black men. One day I was going in the bathroom at our house. And I was just a little kid, right? And keep in mind, my sister's a lot older than me. So when I was 7 or 8, she's like 19 or 20, right? But I opened the door, and her boyfriend, who was a black guy, had just gotten out of the shower, and I was just like, I was blown away. It looked like a rope to catch, cattle out in the ranch. I was like, oh my God, what the hell? You know what I mean? And again, I mean, there's the phrase out there, once you go black, you never go back. For guys out there who are inexperienced, dick size isn't everything. There are some women that wouldn't be able to handle some black men, but the point is, a lot of women do like bigger dicks. So again, I really do think all of this shit goes back to something that simple. Our nation's capital is a huge dick. As we're always showing, it comes back to dick jokes. One of our earliest contributors back in the day, if you were here from the beginning, he'd always write up all the posts about dick jokes. And I'm going to come back to the dick joke and what's going on today with Lamar Odom, because there's something more that I haven't said yet. But he would point out things, and again, I mean, you had to... I'm not saying this is exactly true, but he'd always point out how one of the most common foods for Americans, especially in the Great Depression when everyone was eating shit, was a hot dog. And a hot dog, the original cut of a hot dog was exactly perfect for the length and a dollar bill if you folded it over it. So they got people getting their money to eat these hot dogs, which is essentially ground up shit you shouldn't be eating, that's in the shape of a dick. and then the nation's capital with all the stuff with Osiris and the dick. And there's a great contributor right now. He'll probably leave a comment about Dionysus and Osiris and the dick after he hears this video. But a lot of this stuff does come back to just the most basic of things. And in a way, you know, we're very much like more people are in the physical world than the spiritual world. They care more about what's on the outside. And you know, I can just see how people who are jealous can be provoked. If you have a bigger, stronger person who also has a bigger dick than you, who's more attractive to the women, that could be a problem, you know, in certain people's minds. And in reality, the world doesn't need to be this way, because there's some women, it's like you don't have to be jealous of that, because not every woman's going to be into that. But again, I really do think this is what's happened. So, you know, I really do think it all comes back to this. And that's also why when they had to shame this guy the other week, they had to talk about how he's running around naked and he exposing himself to little children. You know, I mean, it's just, that's what it's all about. The naked black man in chains. You know what I mean? In the big 42 ritual. If you missed all these videos, you really should go back and watch them. And it's too bad the channel's been deleted so many times, because if it hadn't, there'd probably be 1,000 videos on this channel about ritualistic black shaming, if not more than that. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say there'd probably be 1,000 videos. This is a topic I've covered to death over and over, nonstop, since August of 2014. That's when I figured it out after the Michael Brown thing. Ferguson 42, Missouri 42, the cop with the 42. I just started to look at black history. I was like, they really are coding this.